And good morning. Right, what we're going to do today is we are now going to hit that function turn our binary text here into hexadecimal. And we saw from the last algorithm video how we do that. We're going to take these 4 digits and then these 4 digits and then turn them into hex. So I'm going to make a function and I'm going to use these variables. I'm going to add some more variables and just change these. Hex A and hex B, I want those as numbers, but I also need a string version of them. So I'm going to change these so you've got a string. So these are going to be for characters, but I'm also going to have one which is just hex A as a number as well. And so I'm just leaving that hex A like it is. Oh, I picked the wrong one out. So I played it right. So where were we? Let's go back again. Hex A equals 0. And this string. This one is a string. I don't know why the computer restarted then, but hey ho. I want hex B as a number as well. That will make a bit more sense in a moment. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here. So in my function setting, I'm going to make another function. I'm going to make 3 functions in total. And so this function, I'm going to use this style of function because I want to pass it a variable and I want to bring it back. So this is bin to hex. All right. So we're going to set up the variables again now. And I'm going to say hex A. Ooh. And start again. Hex A equals 0. Hex B equals 0. All right, and we want our binary to be whatever we pass it just here, so n. Okay, so what's going to happen, our n, our binary, whatever we pass it, whatever's in the video, let's put this one up here, whatever's in here, we're going to pass it into here, into binary, and then we're going to create a letter, create numbers for each of the 4 things, and then we're going to convert them into strings. So just like before, I need a checker. All right, so my checker this time is not going to start with 128, it's going to start on 8. Okay, so I'm going to now create a loop. I'm going to say for I equals to 4, and it's just going to pick out my first 4 letters. So I'm going to say here that my hex A string is the first letter of bin. So to do that, I need a substring. So I'm going to put bin just here for my binary, and I want the letter that's at I, or the number that's at I, to the number that's I plus 1. So when it first comes on, it starts at 0 and it's going to pick the first digit up from 0. So I'm going to want to use the if statement now, because if that first digit is a 1, then it means it's worth 8 points and I need to add it on to hex A. So I'm going to use a compare instruction. So this is the double equals. So if hex A string is a 1, then I want to add whatever the checker, the 8 here, I want to add that to this number here. I've set it at 0 outside of the loop, but inside of the loop it's going to keep doing it, and it'll add whatever the checker is to it. So I want a variable 1 here, and I want to say that hex A is hex A plus the checker. Okay, so the first time round, happy days, that's just going to be 8, and if the next one in, we've got to half that, haven't we? So we've got to reduce the value of the checker. Okay, we've got to divide it by 2, so I'm going to get a divide in here, and we're going to say in here checker equals checker divided by 2. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is just check it. So I'm going to get a console log message in here. They're really useful. And in here, don't change console, but change what's going on in there. I'm going to put a plus in. What I tend to do is I would tend to write hex A equals, and then in here I would write hex A. Because otherwise, when you're doing it, you'll get a lot of numbers appearing in your console, and you don't know quite what they are. So I'm going to run. I'm going to press that one, and my deanery, I'm going to be a big number, because I'm only checking the first thing. So 11001000. Okay, so it's converted that from right to hexa. So why has it not done this? Well, it's not done that because I've not told it to yet, have I? So I need to go down to here and do a set text. So this is the label on the FD from deanery 1, the hex. And what text do I want in here? So I'm going to do my function again. I'm going to call my function. All right, and then what do I want in here? So my function is bin to hex, and I need to get the text from the binary here. So let's go back in here and get the text. And it's from the label FD bin. Okay, so let's try that one. Run deanery 200 submit. Okay, so error line set text parameter undefined is not a UI string. So I'm getting the text there, and it's telling me it's not a string. Okay, I think I see what I haven't done. I've not gone and done a return at the bottom of here. That should be hex a string is what I should return to put back into here. Let's give that another go. Run deanery 200 submit. Okay, so we've got down here hex A is 12. Okay, that looks about right. I've got an 8 and a 2. That's perfect. Lovely. And it showed it was an 8 first, and then it was a 4, and then it didn't add anything onto it. So that's worked lovely. Okay, so now I'm going to work out what this hex A string has got to be, because it's 12, and it's got to be a single character. Now this is easier than you think. It's quite a nice little setup. So when I've finished here, when I finish this loop, then what I want to do, I want to take 12 and I want to convert it into hex. So A is 10, B is 11, so that needs to be changed into a C. And it's quite easy to do. And I'm going to go use an if command for that. I'm just going to put it up in here. Right. And so if hex A is less than or equal to 9, then we can just convert it straight into a character. So we would say here that hex a string is hex a dot to string. So the to string, open brackets, close brackets at the end, and press enter. You just got to type it all in and it will put all the green and purple around it. The green goes in because of the brackets, because it's a function called toString, and it's going to take whatever number that is and convert it into that number. So if it came out to be 8, then it would just take 8 and it will put 8 into hex string. Now, if it's 10 or 11, 12, we want to do something slightly different. All right, and we're going to cheat a little bit. Hex a string, if it's 10 or above, then we're going to use ASCII. So if it's 10, I want it to be capital A, and capital A here is 65. So if I add 55 to 10, I get 65, and I can say, okay, what's character 65? And it's going to give me an A. And it's a really simple line of doing it. Now, what I could do in my code here, I could say if hex A equals 10, then hex A string equals A, but it would just take an awful long time to do. And it would just put, I need 6 if statements in there. And I don't, and this just converts it a treat. So we are going to say hex string equals capital S on string dot from char, capital C on char, capital C on code, open brackets, okay, and I'm just going to put A in there for now and then close brackets because I'm going to change that in a minute. So that's the command. It's going to add to a string, it's going to turn it into a string, and it's going to look in our ASCII code to whatever A is. Now I don't really want it to be A, I want it to be our hex A, which might be sitting at 10 plus 55, and that's going to move it on. And if it was 11 plus 55, it would be 56, and it should turn it into a B straight away. So this is a nice little clever way of converting from our hex number into our hex letter. Okay, so let's give it a shout. Run, deanery, let's put 170 into here, submit, brilliant, and it comes up with an A. So that appears to be working. All right, I'm going to change that now to, let's say, 100, submit, okay, and it's a 6, that's exactly right, because 6 lots of 16 is 96. Perfect, right, I shall stop that there.